We're watching Bronze DPS, the Echo.
Greetings.
Say hi.
Hello there.
Good to make a friend. We don't have Mercy. Might be. There's no hit scan, it seems. Not yet.
Type
It's good.
Type
Hello
Type Echo. Okay.
Type Echo. Type Echo. 5 Echo. 4 Type Echo. 3 Taking
Gotcha.
flight.
Alright. Okay, so we kind of used our cooldown in spawn, which is meh. Not a good habit to get into. And we still don't have a hit. Good. On the other team, though. Good for us. Okay. I like this. I don't like the ability usage, but I like what we're trying to do. Okay. You did use your flight kind of for no reason here. Because you kind of, like, you didn't go up or anything. You just kind of essentially flew what you could have walked. If you're gonna use your flight here, I would prefer a different angle. Then you don't have it to escape. As you can see there. But a big thing with Echo is combos. Because she can essentially one-shot every single 200 HP character, even like 225 HP, with her abilities. So a big thing is her focusing beam, because it does exponentially more damage when a target is under 50 HP, which means that the beam should never be used when a target is fully. Usually what you do is you use sticky bombs, and you use focusing beam, and you can easily get a kill off that. So, based on the enemy team, the person you should be focusing is Lucio or the Genji. And I say this because Moira has Fade, so you should never use sticky bombs unless you know she's used Fade. Here I understand that you don't have your sticky bombs, you just shouldn't have used them. You kind of just seem to throw your sticky bombs out and just kind of hope that they'll hit. Don't do that. You can aim with sticky bombs, and you should be trying to. You want them to stick to someone. So taking the time, they kind of go in a spray, so if you see someone moving across your screen as you're throwing them, try and aim after them in the hopes to stick more. And you shouldn't be using focusing beam at all unless they are below 58% HP. Just using it, you're just throwing out a cooldown for no reason. And it's better to just shoot and wait instead of just throwing out that cooldown. So right now, the big things with Echo, I think, are just figuring out that combo above all else, because that combo melts. So just knowing, number one, target priority, and understanding that combo on Echo is going to help you a lot. So I want to see you focusing on the Lucio, and also, like, keeping track of those cooldowns. I don't want you to see you throw those sticky bombs when Moira has Fade and stuff. Okay. I don't know why we... Pretty good, but once again, we're just kind of throwing out abilities for no reason. Once again, that's a big thing. Focusing beam has the longest cooldown of your abilities for a reason. It's because it is so strong. It goes through all defenses. Genji can't deflect it. No one can DM it. The only thing that blocks it is Sigma's Eat and shields. That's it. And it's so easy to track with, which is why you throwing it out on full HP targets, look at the amount of damage you did. Nothing. You did nothing, basically. You would have been better off shooting at him. You should not be throwing out that cooldown. So what's important with Echo is using those sticky bombs and then burning him down with a focusing beam. It's going to do so much more. Here, Echo has mobility, which means she can go in, flank a little bit, and then get out. Which what that means is you shouldn't be using your fly really to go in, and if you are, you should be using it to fly to a safe place where you can safely poke or even get a pick without endangering yourself, and be able to use your flight again to get out. So for some reason you ditched the Genji. Okay, not a bad use of sticky bombs. We're kind of just walking around, and then we waste focusing beam again. You kind of seem to be focusing on the diva, and I don't like that. I didn't mind that initial poke on the diva, but your goal is never to get the tank first. What you should be doing is providing pressure on preferably this Lucio, just getting that Lucio out of the way, and then maybe picking off the Genji. That's gonna massively improve your team's chance of winning. What you want to do is pick off a support. Going for a flank is good. They clearly don't know you're there, but you're clearly still focused on the diva. I don't like that. Going for like this Lucio or watching and waiting for that Moira fade is going to be much more beneficial here. You're like... Once again, you're too focused on the diva, and you're just kind of throwing out your cooldowns again. Like I said, you keep using Focusing Beam on people that it's not affected by. That diva was nowhere close to half health. And even with Focusing Beam, like, below half health, it's a diva. Like, they're gonna be able to out-heal that. I think when you talk to me, I noticed that the one stat you mentioned was damage, and I can see why. When you play DPS, there's two things you need to understand. Depending on the character you're playing, actually, in general, in Overwatch, the scoreboard doesn't mean shit. So, obviously, if you have like 50 elims and 2 deaths and you've got like 20k damage, 1000% you did great. But a lot of times, like, having one good stat does not mean anything. If you have like 17k damage, I think that was the number you gave, 17k damage for like one game, like, that means nothing, because if that's how you're playing, what you're doing is you're just pumping loads of damage into a tank, and that tank is gonna, one, tank all that damage, and two, it's gonna get out healed by the supports. Which is why just having one good stat, like just having good damage, means nothing, because what you should be doing as a DPS, especially as a flank DPS, is going into their backline and picking off their squishies. If you're going to get distracted by the diva every time, you're not actually going to contribute anything to the team, because the whole DPS role is you are meant to get those consequential picks, right? So when you go in and you pick off a support in a DPS or something like that, you are drastically turning the team fight. Whereas when you go in, focus on the diva, maybe get her out of mech, they still have all these resources left over to do things, especially supports who have built up their ult super fast from keeping this diva up. And your team, right? Your team's down 2 right now because there was no pressure that they could push off of and expand on. So you can see here, the Genji and the Moira were able to get 2 picks here because they felt zero pressure from you, because even though you're in the backline, you're not doing much because you're not managing your abilities well. And now you're gonna get picked off because you went in when your team was already down 2, now down 4. The only person left on your team is the Moira, who's going to wisely back off, I'm sure. Oh, that's wrong, Moira, I'm dumb. Yeah, she backed off. So, right now the big things I'm seeing is you are focused way too much on the tank. You need to focus on squishies way more. The tank is never your priority, especially on the character you're playing. Junkrat is much more of a tank buster and can focus more on fighting that tank. Your job is to go in, provide pressure on the backline, and get picks on the squishies. I also want to see better ability management. I think Echo is a really, really, really strong character. Echo's like insane. And she can really like dominate a team and especially like really fuck up their backline, but you need to learn her combos better. Remember that you need to use Sticky Bomb and then your Focusing Beam. Focusing Beam should never ever be used unless there's a below 50% HP target. Otherwise, you're wasting an ability because it does nothing. Right. So that's your second death. We're getting decently close to ults. Your Junkrat's not doing much, I can tell. Not much you can do about that. But the other team is way closer to ults, and that's because they've been keeping this diva up this whole time. Like, this entire team has benefited way more off the first, like, 2 team fights they've had than your team. So they're benefiting way more by you guys just pumping damage into this diva. Okay. You had the right combo, but Genji was deflecting. Those sticky beams just went right back at you. You need to be more aware of what is happening. I understand that was like the right combo that time. I'm proud of you for doing that. Once again, you're wasting a cooldown here. When those sticky grenades bounced back at you, you should have not touched Focusing Beam at all. as soon as you saw that animation. Okay, I'm curious to see who we're gonna duplicate. I'm assuming we're just gonna immediately use it. Okay, that's kind of on that Sigma. You need to back off because you have 3 people dead. Okay. I feel like at the end you made an effort to back off, but you should have backed off way sooner. You should have picked up on that a little bit. Your Sigma is just an idiot here, so he was gonna die no matter what, but he kept going in. You did get 1 pick, I think, on the May? I don't even understand how your team died to that bomb, though. Okay, and actually, I'm kind of curious. Let's see, like, how did your team die to this D.Va bomb? Let's watch from, like, the Moira's point of view, because that's the one that should not have died. Okay, maybe Fade was on cooldown. Oh, okay, we use it for no reason there. And then she's gonna use it again to go back in, because she delayed herself. Yep. Okay, we saw the D.Va bomb and we made no effort to move until the last second. Okay, so your Moira also has an issue with wasting abilities. I'm curious, does this Kiriko have Susie? Both of you gotta help. Okay. Kiriko goes a completely different way than everyone else. Probably TP's in. Wastes a cooldown. Wastes another cooldown. Okay. So, she never should have gone that way to begin with. And that use of Susu was so stupid. Based off the time, I'm assuming this is gonna go 2, and I'm assuming you're gonna win. We can't see scoreboards, but I'm assuming this is gonna be one of those, oh, I have lots of damage, and 0 pigs, 0 anything else. Okay. I don't mind those beginning damage. And once again, we're wasting focusing beam. And the Lucio was low too. We could have gone for the Lucio and we didn't. Okay. I liked, no, I would have rather you fought the Genji. That's good. Okay. That was I mean, I understand what you were trying to do. Like, you threw out the focusing beam, but you were trying to get her because she was low. Once again, waste of focusing beam. Don't use it. Here's the thing. I understand you're like, oh, this is off cooldown, I'm gonna use it now. You could have just shot at her. If you... Focusing beam has a really long cooldown. Genji's still alive. You should go and use sticky bombs and focusing beam here. But you don't have focusing beam. I think you're depending a little bit too much on your abilities in the hopes that they'll just kind of carry you out of this. I think you're just not confident with your aim. I mean, you got 1 kill based off of aim alone. You need to use focusing beam only when someone's low. Like, he's at a great health level for focusing beam, but I don't think you're gonna get close enough. You just need better ability management. Okay, that was good. And that was, once again, he's deflecting there, so. And once again, we're using focusing beam when we shouldn't. We throw out focusing beam. You're clearly still really focused on this D.Va, and you should not be. Genji's off to the side. You should go fight that Genji. Okay, then we lose 1 support. D.Va's really low here, but that does not matter. You should focus on that D.Va, because she's out of position. But then Lucio gets her beat off. As soon as Lucio got beat off, you should have left. Before, when... Right here, and when D.Va was over here, you should have tried and got... you had sticky bombs, and you had your ability for mobility. You should have gone behind here and picked off the D.Va. At least V-mech'd her. That's what you should have done, but then Lucio beated. You should have just left when Lucio beated. Obviously, you didn't have your mobility. So you probably would die no matter what, but shouldn't have kept fighting.
Adjusting strategy. Advancing upward.
Ugh.
Almost time for a prophetic flush.
For all the tales.
Once again, pumping out that early damage into the D.Va.
Adaptive circuits engaged.
Yeah, I figured we were gonna go that. I like that. You clearly know how to play Diva. Or at least have a good grasp of it. Yeah, not getting that. Okay, nice. Nope, don't like that. Using focusing beam coming right out of there. So I liked your Diva gameplay actually. From what I saw, I mean it wasn't much, but I liked how you knew to go in. I like that you used your mini bombs at the same time. You melted fast. I honestly think like the Diva gameplay seems pretty confident. But once again, we went in, we used focusing beam right off the bat for no reason. And we died. Not your fault, you started ult when your team was alive and you thought that that was gonna keep going, but... once the team died to that Diva bomb, you could have used Diva's boosters to actually get out of there. I think you should have. Once again, bad use of focusing beam. Okay. I don't like how long it took you to notice where you're getting damaged from, but I'm glad that you did notice and you went to go deal with it, because a lot of people just ignore that. That's a good thing. Ooh. And once again, that's, I think, yeah. We did it okay once, and then since then it's just gone back to being bad. You win this fight? You have to, because you have another... Well, good on you guys for winning this. Okay, nice. Got the timing a little wrong. I understand what you're trying to do. Oh, okay, and once again, I do not like the use of focusing beam. I like that you got out. You understood that you were going to die otherwise. I feel like you're just the most confident shooting at the tank, and that's what's going on here. Which is understandable. Okay. Interesting, Mabel. Interesting. Oh, that's a good use of focusing beam. See? See how it melts? That Genji was half healthy, you got him down in seconds because that's how focusing beam works, you know? That was good. I liked that use. Okay. I think it's interesting you're not willing to go in a little bit more. You kind of really stick with your team. Once again, that's a good use of focusing beam there. I liked that. You knew that your whole team was looking at him. He was already low. I like that. Good job. You want to copy the echo or... Okay, don't... Okay. You needed to move there. Yeah, you are not safe. If there's a danger symbol, that means that you're in danger. Okay. I understand that you were like, oh, I'm a tank, but... Oh, focusing beam. Focusing beam. You have it. You should use... No, not there. On the Genji. Okay, he died anyway. It's okay. Okay, good. Nice. He's really low, but you don't have focusing beam. That's okay, because you wouldn't have had it anyway if you used it on the Genji. You got him anyway. Okay. The big thing that I just continuously keep seeing is your use of focusing. And I'm not a big fan of it. I'm not a big fan of the use of focusing. Oh, okay. We're going Sim. I'm much, Sim is super good, and she's super easy. So, I'm really interested to see... I'm really interested to see how you use TP and your turrets, but this will probably massively help. I'm also really curious to see... Okay. I mean, it did some stuff. Okay, nice. We're melting. Oh. Nice. Yeah, focus on the Genji. No, you should have, That's a decent strategy, but not the best way to go about that. But I understand what you're trying to do, and that's totally the right play to attempt to make. What you should do is put down your turrets first, and then place your TP. That's going to provide a lot more burst damage, because you're going to have all 3 turrets go in at once and activate at once, which means, like, especially if there's a squishy right there, it's going to be near impossible for them to survive that, because they need to break all of those turrets in time. It's much better to put down the turrets first and then place your teleporter, because if you put down the teleporter first, number one, they can start breaking the teleporter as you put the turrets through, and they can also break the turrets as you're placing them. So it's better to do all 3 at once. But that's totally a good play. I like that. Shooting at our own team, or we're just not sure of beam range? Okay, we're kind of just holding it down. There's no shame in stopping the shooting just for a little bit. Okay, you want them to come there. Yeah. I would like you to go up there and fight. I mean, obviously you can't tell where people are going, and for some reason there's like 2 different teams here, and no one else wants to really push the fight. Everyone wants to stand point. Ooh. Uh-oh, careful. You're a little lost. There's a Genji behind you. Yeah. Yeah, a little lost. Okay. So your team seems really scared to like push up. That's usually what you should do, is once you get point, you should go over to where they are, and it's an interesting... Do you know where you're... Okay. Was there a reason we did that? Could just walk there. Little spectator glitch. You're getting shot at by the soldier. Yeah. Okay. We get lost a lot. Your team really should have gone up to the high ground. Up there. Oh, okay. That's your Moira! That's your Moira! You have an ult? You have an ult? Okay! Wow. I was afraid we were just gonna, like, try and stand there and live it again. Okay. But that's... I respect... Oh. Okay, D.Va. Run into the wall. Okay. Your Junkrat is still AFK. That sucks. That's too bad. Hate that. Okay, where are we placing this? Yes. The point? Watch out, because there's... You saw him! And once again, we're doing it the weird way. Yeah. And so they were really quickly able to destroy those turrets. Why don't we contest some of the DPS up there? Well, down there now. That soldier's gonna cause a lot of issues on high ground, so you should really try contesting him more. Okay, there was no need to keep shooting at the D.Va when she was demeching, because that she's CC'd in that animation, and you're not gaining anything by shooting at her. I should have focused on someone else. Oof. Oof. Just barely lived. Okay, watch out, because yeah, get him! Get him! Nice. You gotta just throw these turrets out, huh? It seems like you're not confident that you can win a fight without the help of a turret. And turrets are really easy to destroy, especially when you're just like throwing them out. The biggest thing for you, I think, is ability management. You are throwing that focusing beam out and absolutely wasting it. And you got it near the end, you were using it when the team was lower, and you were really effectively able to get kills then. Using the focusing beam on a full health target, or even like just like a 75% health target, is a waste of your ability. You're wasting a cooldown and you're throwing it away. I would never ever recommend doing that. With Echo specifically, I think the big things for you are figuring out who your target priority is and your ability management. I think you have decent aim on Echo. You seem to at least understand how projectile heroes work. I really need you to not focus on the D.Va. Echo's not a character meant for tanks the same way. She's really, really strong for squishy specifically. You should be focusing more on their backline. So I think the big things are figuring out your target priority. As a DPS, your target priority is always squishies, pretty much 99% of the time. But the big issues here were the DPS and getting rid of them. And then after you got rid of all that pressure on high ground, you could have gone down, melted squishies, melted D.Va. It would have been great. With Echo, you should be targeting squishies. With Ashe, you should be targeting squishies. You need to focus less on the tank. I think what you're thinking is, I have a lot of damage, so I'm doing really well, but really all that's happening is you're shooting at the thing with the biggest hitbox and just kind of poking at it, and you're not really getting those eliminations, and you're not really helping the team. You also really like to just kind of look at diva bombs. I was very worried there. Like, you demeched yourself when you were in copy, and then, like, I was terrified. Like, you could have just gone behind Sigma's shield probably and had your ult for a different time, but instead you kind of just stared at the diva bomb for a bit, which I did not like at all. You should never just stare at it. You should always be like, as soon as you hear that, you should figure out where it is and find a safe spot. I'd say your main things that you should be working on are ability usage and target priority, always. Now obviously, there's my advice to take into account, but I'd also recommend watching people to see how they play these characters. I think there's Voice Box on TikTok, and then there's also, I think Beep Cheap is still on TikTok. I should follow him. Let me check. Yeah, Beep Cheap is still on TikTok. Beep Cheap, the top 500 Echo player. Yeah. And you can just kind of see, and he's been playing Echo since Overwatch 1. I followed him since then. I'm the #1 Beep Sheep stan. Just kidding, but you know. And he's a really good Echo. He doesn't really give tutorials or anything, he just posts clips of his gameplay, but it's a really good way to see, like, oh, how does he consistently hit sticky bombs? Who does he go after the most? How does he use his abilities? When does he use his flight, and why, and when? But, that's a really good option. Symmetra's just, like, a really strong and easy to play character, and you have her down for the most part. I just think you need to work on a couple little techs and like when you should be using things a little bit more. But mainly with Symmetra, I think it's more just like, what do I need to do right now? Who should I be targeting right now? And for that, I would just say, just watch, you know, general higher ranked people, and you can kind of see who they're targeting and why and when.